The 12 apostles of Jesus Christ were men of humble origins, coming from various occupations such as fishermen, farmers, and craftsmen. Despite their ordinary lives, all of them made the decision to leave their activities behind to follow their Master, Jesus, becoming witnesses to his life, his teachings, and later, his resurrection. They were chosen to spread the message of the gospel throughout the world, but this mission was not easy. The apostles faced numerous challenges, persecutions, and in many cases, ended up sacrificing their lives in the name of Christ. Throughout history, their deaths have been shrouded in mystery and legends, with most of them meeting tragic fates. Each of these episodes reflects both their loyalty to Jesus and the atrocities that humanity can inflict on its fellow beings. For those who believe the apostles had ordinary deaths, let me assure you that was not the case. The story of their lives and martyrdoms is full of mystery, controversy, and often macabre tales. In this video, we will explore what the Bible, church tradition, and historians have to say about the final fate of these men who were so close to Jesus. Therefore, I invite you to subscribe to the channel, click the like button, and stay until the end to learn all the details. Starting with John, the apostle known as the beloved disciple. John was the son of Zebedee and brother of James, also one of the apostles. He had a very close relationship with Jesus, being described as the disciple whom Jesus loved the most. This closeness allowed John to witness many of the most important moments in Jesus' life, such as the Transfiguration and the Last Supper, where he reclined next to the Master. After Christ's resurrection, John played a vital role in the early Christian community in Jerusalem. However, his fate is somewhat mysterious. Christian tradition says that John suffered various persecutions, including an execution attempt in which he was thrown into a cauldron of boiling oil. According to legend, God miraculously preserved him, and he emerged unscathed. Because of this miracle, Emperor Domitian decided to exile him to the island of Patmos, a prison colony of the empire. It is on this island that, according to tradition, John received the visions that make up the book of Revelation. As for his death, unlike the other apostles, John is said to have died of natural causes, already quite elderly, in Ephesus. James, John's brother, had a different fate. He was also part of Jesus' inner circle, being one of the 3 apostles closest to Christ, along with John and Peter. The Bible reports that he witnessed the resurrection of Jairus' daughter and was present during Jesus' agony in Gethsemane. His death, however, was violent. The book of Acts of the Apostles, in chapter 12, tells us that King Herod Agrippa ordered James' execution by the sword, making him one of the first Christian martyrs. Some accounts suggest he was beheaded, while others say he was pierced by a sword. Another apostle who met a tragic end was Peter, originally named Simon. A fisherman by trade, he was the first to recognize Jesus as the Christ, the Son of God, and received the name Peter, meaning rock, symbolizing his firmness in faith. Peter was one of the most fervent disciples, and his central role in the leadership of the early church is well documented in the book of Acts. However, he also faced Nero's relentless persecution. After the Great Fire of Rome in 64 AD, Peter was arrested and sentenced to death by crucifixion. Tradition says that out of humility, he requested to be crucified upside down, as he did not feel worthy of dying in the same manner as his master. The site of his crucifixion is now Vatican Hill, where St. Peter's Basilica stands. Another apostle who met a brutal fate was Andrew, Peter's brother. He was also a fisherman and one of the first to follow Jesus. After Christ's ascension, Andrew took the gospel message to various parts of the world, including Greece, where, according to tradition, he was crucified on an X-shaped cross, now known as St. Andrew's Cross. Like Peter, it is believed that Andrew requested to be crucified in a different way than Jesus, as a gesture of humility. Philip, originally from Bethsaida, the hometown of Peter and Andrew, was also one of the apostles who spread Christianity to distant regions. He is remembered for his role in the miracle of the feeding of the 5,000, when Jesus asked him how to feed the crowd. Philip, based on human logic, replied that there wouldn't be enough money to buy bread for everyone. Even after Jesus' death, Philip continued his mission, preaching in various regions, including Samaria. His death, however, was also tragic. Philip was crucified and stoned in Hierapolis, in Asia Minor, during Roman persecutions. Simon, known as the Zealot, possibly because of his connection to the political movement of the Zealots, was also martyred. Tradition suggests that he was tortured and sawn in half during the persecution of Christians by Emperor Trajan. Bartholomew, on the other hand, traveled to India to preach the gospel and was captured by an angry pagan king. According to some accounts, he was beheaded, but Orthodox Christian tradition states that Bartholomew was skinned alive and crucified upside down. Matthew, before being called by Jesus, was a tax collector in Capernaum, a despised profession at the time. He became one of the authors of one of the 4 Gospels in the New Testament. After Jesus' death, Matthew continued preaching and, according to tradition, was martyred in Ethiopia, where he was said to have been killed by the sword while celebrating Mass. Thomas, also known as Doubting Thomas, for doubting Jesus' resurrection until he saw and touched his wounds, traveled to India to preach the gospel. There, he too was martyred, possibly being pierced by a spear. Finally, Jude Thaddeus, another of the lesser-mentioned apostles, played an important role in spreading Christianity in Mesopotamia and Persia. His death, according to some traditions, occurred by stoning or being struck with axes, a brutal method of execution for the time. These simple men, with ordinary lives, faced extraordinary destinies because of their faith. Their deaths, filled with mystery and symbolism, were the ultimate testimony of their dedication to Jesus Christ, and their legacies live on in the history of the Church.